A very good morning to you and welcome to Open Air. Open Air is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Well, through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Well, today on Open Air, we'll be looking at reverse crisis. Fubara writes fresh letter to Assembly for 2020. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Open Air on Atlantic Television Network, and joining us today, this morning, live in the studio to discuss Open Air is Mr. Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu. He's a political analyst. Good morning and welcome to Open Air today. It's been a long time. It's been a long time we've had you on the show.
Sunday, yeah. I think I've been on French or Greek or sabbatical leave, you know. We won't stop talking about Nigeria. And won't be tired of trying to, you know, make our inputs in making Rivers State work. That the right thing must be done and should be seen to have been done according to the governor of Rivers State. But from his own angle, we are not seeing him walking the talk. Then Victor came about something yesterday on one of the international media. I never knew the word celebrates or the United Nations has acknowledged such thing, what they call Islamophobia. Yesterday, the world celebrated it, and they are talking about the harassment of Muslims around the globe, especially in the Western world, where they might have found themselves to do one job or the other. So we just we also want to see them bring about yes, Christianophobia.
The
Christianophobia. You exactly get to where I'm telling you. So who is fighting for the Christians? Who is talking for the Christians, for the Jews being massacred, being treated as second-class citizens? Who is talking for? Who is making that case for Hindus, Hindus and Buddhists? So this and the traditional worshippers, especially also in Nigeria, you know, they don't talk about traditional worshippers. So I want the world, the Christian world, because Victor, what I learned when I was listening to that document is that if you don't talk about yourself, if you don't bring it out, the United Nations or the world is like a law court. They cannot give you what they not ask for. So the Christians should make a case you know, where Christians suffer subjugation and all those infractions, they also should make a case so that the world will hear.
Well, that will be a case for another day. Let's delve into River State, actually, because that's where our main focus is, like you rightly said. Well, to begin, let's take a look at our first story. Less than 8 hours after his chief George has been placed on investigation over alleged age falsification, the River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has properly written to the State House of Assembly. As you know, the planned presentation of the state budget could not take place because my entourage and I were locked out at the gate and denied entry into the premises despite the prior delivery of a soft copy of the notice to you, following the failure of the clerk to accept the hard copy from us. Recall further that before this unfortunate incident, the House issued a 48-hour ultimatum to present the 2025 budget, even when we were yet to be served with a certified true copy of the judgment and accompanying enrolled orders, he said. Governor Fubara informed the Speaker in the letter that we were simply complying with both the order of the Supreme Court and the request of the River State House of Assembly when we came to present the 2025 budget on the 12th of March 2025. The Supreme Court has directed that all arms of government should exercise their powers and perform their duties within the ambits of the Constitution and ordinary laws of our country, and this we must do to end the lingering stalemate and advance the progress of our state and the well-being of our people. No matter the depth of our differences, we believe the interests of the state and our people should take priority over political conflicts. Against this background, it is my pleasure to again notify you, Mr. Speaker, of my desire and intention to present the 2025 budget to the River State House of Assembly on Wednesday, 19th March 2025 by 11 a.m. or any other date within March 2025 that you may consider convenient. Well, quite interesting. You heard the story. We all saw what happened on Wednesday when the governor of River State went to present the 2025 budget as ordered by the court for him to do. So he went there and he was locked outside the assembly complex. And now he's formally, sending letters of notification to notify the speaker again that he would be coming come 19th of March 2025 to make presentation of the budget. And now the first one, the speaker was saying that they did not receive any formal letter from the governor that he was coming to the house. But the governor said he sent...
The governor has committed some infractions in the letter he has written. If all we see on the black and white media, it's the body and content of such a letter, the governor is still, for me, is still lamenting.
All right, so let's take a look at the infractions that you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The governor is still lamenting.
All right.
If this, what you have read out and what I have read and what we have seen on different print media is a part of the body of the letter that the governor submitted or has transmitted, because they have not given us, the House of Assembly have not given us correspondent that have received it. If the governor of River State and his handlers are able to put up such thing as a letter, indicating intention to go and present the 2025 appropriation bill. This is lamentation. The governor is still going back to the, to the dark days, to the days when things were not right, and he's trying to call those things out. For me, the governor is still whipping up sentiments. The governor is in the habit of whipping up sentiments. Victor, the truth must be told. That is why, like Nnamdi Kanu will say, we are whiter than white, as plain as crystal ball. We have to tell the governor the truth. We have been telling the governor the truth on this table, on this platform. Since this imbroglio started, we have continued to tell Mr. Governor of River State the truth. That even the far he has gone is, through our input, some of the things he has done. So if we sit here and we don't tell him the truth, we are not doing our job. See, the governor started recalling what happened on Wednesday. That, for me, that was a purported intention of the governor to go and present the budget.
How do you mean? Because
yes,
he said from what he said.
He did not get a correspondence that allows him.
How is he supposed to do so? Let's take it step by step.
That is what I'm telling you. Right. The governor, in his lamentation, his book of lamentation, has said clearly that he tried to reach the speaker, and through other means, and
he stated the
WhatsApp, he said which is the soft copy, and he tried to put a call through. Then again, he said it was not only Mr. Speaker, some other members of the assembly that they have their contacts. Then, even if you had done that, duty and the courtesy demands that you wait for a correspondence
before coming to present.
Yes. Do you know that even if the House was sitting in the full glare of the camera and everybody there, the governor can come with the budget paper that very day and will not be ushered inside the hallowed chamber and nothing will happen. It is well within the constitutional right, the job description of the assembly to now invite Mr. Speaker, which a motion will be raised. We should get this clearly. This is politics, and this is a laid-down rule of how budget will be presented. Let's assume, without conceding, that the governor has said, oh, hence I've made effort to reach them. Maybe he has seen the indication that the message has been read. You know, when you send somebody a WhatsApp message, there is an indication that the person has viewed your message. The governor now, on that premise, went to the assembly. Victor, I don't know whether you're following my line of thought.
Yes, I'm following your line of thought. But then just sorry to interject, because we are trying to see ways we can take this issue step by step.
Yes.
Now, if the governor has notified the speaker, probably via whatever social media means that he might have done so, I think, don't you think that the speaker would have responded probably to say, okay, this day is not is not okay, or probably giving him the days that would be okay for them?
Victor,
instead of ignoring.
Victor, did you just arrive from the moon into River State? A lot of waters has passed through under the bridge. A lot of insults, a lot of disenchantment, a lot of frayed nerves. The governor, after the Supreme Court judgment, did not try to mend the fences. The governor, in his usual way, started inflammatory statements and public addresses and statements that also infuriated the nerves that he should use his position to calm.
Again, when you say that the governor did not adhere to some of the orders, or did not seek for reconciliation and all of that, I'm still wondering, because this same governor ordered the local government chairmen to resign.
That is where I'm coming.
That's
to.
one point, and that is a sign of calling for them to embrace peace and all of that.
No, the governor was simply playing to the gallery.
Okay, so let me get you.
So, for more than 1 year, River State, both the governor's camp and the Martin Samehule camp, and by extension, Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike, has inundated themselves on heaping insults and dragging other people, each other, or other camps to the mud. And we now waited patiently till this whole infraction got to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, as the court of finality in Nigeria, spoke. And what did the governor do? In his usual way, he chose the judgment to obey. The governor chose the judgment to obey. Because if the governor is sincere, if the governor of River State, Seminary Foba, is sincere, he would have waited to receive the CTC before asking the head of local governments to take over the administration of the local government.
Okay, so I want to let me ask you just this one. What's the time frame that you think that the CTC would have been given to the governor?
No, the CTC, when is the CTC is when you apply for it. The Supreme Court will not just bring it out. Your lawyers will apply.
Of course, you and I knows that immediately after the court judgments, the CTC will be issued to them, and then they've not gotten it.
No, it is in the Nigerian courts. It is not recorded. It is handwritten. You cannot. They read out their judgments there, but other things that will be factored, even some of the things that will be said in the body of the delivery of the judgment is not part of the judgment. Like where you can come and say, okay, you look at the outcome of this this particular judgment, and you're not trying to admonish or to instruct or to appeal to the other party to obey this order, and why the person must have those ones are not part of the judgment. Those are some of the things that the judge or the justices in their own wisdom will impute as they are reading out the judgments. So it is also those things that will be factored into the broad and larger body of the judgment. I don't know if you get, like, what we are talking about is the judgment is read blow by blow according to the bullet points that are to be adjudicated upon.
All right.
Then after during the just like I'm reading an address, and I got to a place where I have to make clarifications on my own. I said, okay, this particular judgment, like where the Supreme Court scolded the governor, and you know the reason why the Supreme Court now withheld the allocation of Rivers State is because the governor is in the habit of not obeying the law. They said this one is tied to this, in order to make the governor obey. But should it be like that? It shouldn't have gotten up to the point that the Supreme Court will now use the allocation that is for the benefit of the Rivers people, the workers and the common man, to now tie to the governor obeying a particular judgment. That is an affront. That is to tell you that they have watched the governor over time not obeying the laws. Remember, Victor, that this particular judgment of the Supreme Court, or pronouncement of the Supreme Court, let me say it that way, is not a judgment. The Supreme Court was simply, simply speaking on appeals that was brought before it. One, if the governor have said that those exercises of representation of 2024 budget and the recognition of Martin Samehule as the 20th Speaker of Rivers State House Assembly are not interfering with where they are going to sit, and not withholding their salaries or any obstacle. It was a judgment. Victor, no, listen. It was a judgment that was turned out from a temple of justice.
Okay. And
the governor appealed to the appeal court. Appeal court also affirmed the pronouncement and the judgment of Justice Omotosho. The governor went to Supreme Court. So those infractions and those disobedience of court order did not start today. So for the governor to now say that he has written to the House of Assembly, and what we read here now is the letter indicating, and now they are now finding it difficult that the governor was asked to present the budget in 48 hours. But the governor is now giving a date and then framing it within March. Is it not the same as now telling the assembly members that this budget, you must come to present it within March? Is it not an ultimatum given to the House of Assembly? And the House of Assembly told the governor explicitly that we want to go on a recess, that we are doing this thing so that we will be able to, receive the document and channel it to the different committees that will be looking into it. So now that the governor has written a letter to them, they will still wait for correspondence. That is why I'm telling you that even if the governor on that Wednesday, he went to the House Assembly, has seen the House sitting in the full glare of the camera,
the governor will be ushered in. The majority leader of the house, or the house leader, will now indicate to the speaker, raising a motion that the governor the governor is not part of the house.
All right.
And they cannot force himself inside the hallowed chambers where members of the House of Assembly are sitting.
All right, Mr. Ugochukwu. Now, the governor has written the formal letter, and it has informed the speaker. So, what would you make of this now? He has done that on time this time around, and at least we've come to know that he has written the letter and also informed them. We've not had any response from the speaker yet.
That is still the same thing. If the speaker did not give, if the House of Assembly, let me not say the speaker now, did not give a correspondence to this letter of acknowledgement, the governor will still not go.
Now, would the blame now be on the governor?
No, this is not a blame game issue.
Right.
This is a procedural process. It is forget about this one that letters are flying on the open. Before, this thing doesn't make headlines. It doesn't make. So what the game you're seeing here is somebody want to play the nice guy. Somebody want to whip sentiment so that the world will see. But listen, Victor, when you were asked to come and present the budget, you didn't go on the part of the governor. The governor said he was waiting for CTC. While you have started obeying the Supreme Court order without seeing the CTC, who is to be blamed here? The governor would have allowed the chairman of local government to sit by, continue, because the judgment of the Supreme Court, they say it takes immediate effect. The governor chose the one to obey, asking the chairman of the 23 local governments, while this particular gray one, he did not obey it. Why did he, create that insinuation and that suspicion that he don't want to go and face Martin Samehule and the House of Assembly to present the budget? That is the meat of this particular matter. And again, listen, the governor tied his obedience to the Supreme Court order on seeing the CTC and went ahead and shot himself on the foot by obeying the Supreme Court order, which should be also contained in the same CTC that he was purportedly waiting for.
Okay, Ugochukwu, there's quite a lot to say, and looking at time, we're just trying to see how we can
and again now this issue has overlapped. Let me make this final analysis. This issue has now overlapped, because now if the governor has presented that budget, then the infractions, the House they didn't see clearly of those other the commissioners that will be coming to defend their budgets according to their ministries, the commissioners, so that they will be screened and he will swear them in. They become bona fide commissioners in order to face the House of Assembly to, when the budget is being presented, to now defend their budget for their different ministries. As the case may be. So we are still in for a very long
here, but let's delve into some of the stories so that
Victor, we are still in. We are still in for a very long, this political long jam.
We do not have the luxury of time to actually discuss that, because there are quite lots of stories that has to do with Rivers State. So let's take this next one now. A Rivers State House of Assembly on Friday at its 136th legislative sitting passed 3 bills, which will be forwarded to His Excellency, the Governor, for assent. Debating on the reports of the various committees for the 3 bills, which were the Rivers State House of Assembly Powers and Privileges Bill 2025, a bill that seeks to grant the House powers, privileges and immunity to perform its legislative duties. The Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Bill 2025, which seeks to repeal the existing state electoral law of 2018 and to reenact a new one to provide for the establishment, composition and functions of the Commission in line with the Electoral Act of 2022 and the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the Rivers State Local Government Bill 2025, which seeks to abolish the state's local government laws of 2018, 2023 and 2024 and to reenact a new law a new local government law that will be in sync with contemporary laws in the administration of the local government councils. Members maintain that the bill, when passed, the state will be well placed in the Committee of States in those areas covered by the bills. Remarking on the reports, the Speaker, Right Honorable Martin Chike Amewule, stated that what the House is simply doing is the domestication of the Legislative Houses, Powers and Privileges Act of 2017, that gave certain powers and privileges to the legislature in the performance of its function. Right Honorable Amewule averred that the Reset Bill is very crucial, given the need to be in tandem with the Electoral Act and the Constitution. Similarly, the Speaker harped on the importance of making the local government law reflect certain constitutional provisions, adding that the River State House of Assembly will continue to perform its legislative duties in the best interest of the people. When the Speaker puts the question, members unanimously voted in the affirmative for each of the three bills and passed them for onward transmission to the Governor for assent for the benefit of the state. Commending members for their doggedness, Honorable Amewule said, "For sacrificing your recess in the interest of the people, history will be kind to you." He further extolled them for going the extra mile in working for the state and the people. The House thereafter adjourned Sendai. Wow, quite interesting. Over to you now, Ugochukwu. I told you that we have lots of River State story to discuss today. And here is the Assembly passing three bills, which is adjourns Sendai. I'd like to get your take on that.
Most of those bills have been, the Supreme Court has made a pronouncement. They are simply going back to just dust it and present it to the governor for his assent. Remember, they have overridden the governor. They override the governor when they passed it and presented it to the governor. The governor refused his assent, and they override the governor on it. But in the spirit of reconciliation, in the spirit of acknowledging one another's constitutional division of power, so they are simply going to bring it out, re-adopt it as a house, and now forward to the governor for his assent. And on the governor's path, who is also seeking for something from the assembly, this is not a give and take.
All right.
This is a litmus test for the governor. This I see it as a banana
now, looking
peel.
at the fact that they are now in recession.
I see it as a banana peel.
Now, the House they are now in recession. How would this play out?
No, if they have already passed the bill, to tell you that this bill has already been tinkered with.
All right.
Because it is not within this short time frame that this amendment happened. I don't know if you so these bills, they have already doctored it. They have already done one. Is if you remember the Electoral Act of River State, the RISEC operating on, is the one of they said the amendment was done last in 2018. You remember in 2022, Muhammad Buhari signed a new electoral legislation. This is a litmus test. That is what I see.
All right.
Then, if the governor assents to it, or if he returns back to the House during recess can reconvene on emergency. Okay. on anything that concerns the state, that is what do they call it, motion of urgent importance or public urgent importance. Even the presentation of the budget, if they want the governor to come and present the budget, how will the election be conducted in that August? These are some of the things the governor should factor into whatever games he's playing and whatever information he's assimilating from those who are speaking from both sides of the mouth within his camp, for the betterment of River State. That he's continued to say that he has the River State people in mind, and his mantra now is River people first. We will see whether he will be able to do it.
The updated voters register from INEC. Let me get your take on this.
You said it earlier that we are inundated today with a lot of river stories, and all of them seems to be, dancing around
the local government elections, the governor, and as well as
the unity
speaker.
of purpose.
All right.
the relationship that should exist between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary.
Okay.
Now you see that the first casualty in a military coup or in a military government is that event must take place. So we sat here and people were dragging us, saying that we are biased, we are this. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court has spoken because you didn't follow the guidelines. Now that the Supreme Court has nullified that event that took place, you know, we know that some people has already cashed out, but I know they will be called to account. They definitely
allegedly, actually,
they will be called to account.
Allegedly, that's
but whether they cashed out or the monies were used for what they are supposed to be used for, there will still be an accountability, so that we will now know where the monies of Rivers people, within the time they sat the local government chairman, and you know the beauty of it, they are not to be called local government chairman. They never existed in the eyes of the law. Yes, they are in the camp of former the man that you know held office in for Rotebe Amechi, Celestine Omeha. Celestine Omeha, in the eyes of the law, was never a governor of Rivers State. You can't call him a former governor. You can't address him that way. So those people who had opportunity of manning the affairs of local government areas in Rivers State are not recognized as former chairmen. That is the beauty of the law in a country, because this is coming from the Supreme Court. So in the eyes of the world, that election did not follow due process and shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened. We should take this, you know, information as, you know, as a fact that we know that in nowhere around Rivers State or in Nigeria should have already, you know, forgone.
All right.
Today, RISEC chairman is still under investigation. RISEC chairman, the House of Assembly has given an order for him to be brought to them. Is it? I think they asked the DSS or the police to arrest him. And that is the order of, this is not even court, this is the House of Assembly. And again, this RISEC chairman who has gone to court to avoid coming to see the assembly members, he will still one day, whether him or a new person is appointed, account for the monies expended during that event of 2024, 5th October. So these are the things the governor would have gone on the ground and begin to mend fences, to smoothen, you know, frayed nerves with these assembly members, so that those things will not come up. See, Victor, there are a lot of things that is still boiling in Rivers State, because this particular one will bring out a lot of infractions. This election, we asked on this program that this election you are conducting, who approved the monies? Which local government? Because we knew that the 2024, you know, purported appropriation did not capture the election. And I sat here and said that the governor, when he was being handed over in 2023, knew that the aspiration of the local government chairman then was in sight. And again, elections will be conducted in no far distant time. Then he presented 800 billion purported appropriation bill of 2024 and did not capture the monies that will be used for that particular election. So where did the money for that election came from, and who approved it? That is what the house was, the Martin Samuel Authentic House is now saying, come and interface with us. Let us know where you got the money, who approved it, and how you expended it. We know that an event took place, Monies has been wired, monies have been expended, but where did you get it? How did you spend it? How much was expended? And how much is our balance? So whether they like it or not, as RISEC has projected August 9th as another election, that election is tied within their relationship and the way they were able to go about it in explaining how these other eventful monies were expended, and again how the governor is going to handle his relationship, because what I'm seeing now, Victor, there is no synergy. Everybody is still in their camp. Like nobody wants to come down from their high horse and meet the other at the meeting point. Okay, then so is that the way we are going to continue?
Well, brings me to the question I wanted to ask you, actually, about the security aspects as regards to that August 9 when it comes for the local government polls and all of that. You've said it here now that nobody wants to come down, nobody wants to admit one or two. But now the issue is looking at security aspects for that election, because whether you like it or not, even though the RISEC has promised a free and fair election, we've seen several instances where even peace accord will be signed and then we still have clashes during elections. So
and nobody will be accountable.
So there are serious concerns as regards security issues right now
in Rivers State,
where you're talking about, nobody wants to step down to acknowledge, the issues on ground and all of that. So it's a thing of questions of concern, rather, about security as regards this date. What would you say about that?
Victor, the question you ask now is very apt. But who holds the key to mend fences? Is the governor. See, when you're negotiating, like now, the House of Assembly is in the position of strength. There is no two ways about it.
Well, you keep putting this on the governor.
No, the governor. Yes.
Does it mean that it's just the governor that has a role to play in all of this?
You know why I'm saying the governor?
We have the speakers. We have also the former governor, the FCT minister as well, playing roles in all of this. So but you keep putting it on the governor.
I give you a quick example. I was with a priest.
Okay.
When I came back to Nigeria to 2022, I was with a priest. So some of the things they do in Nigeria, the churches has become business. So I look at him as somebody who is rational, and he's a doctorate degree holder. I said there are some infractions I'm seeing about monies and how offerings are being taken from people. I said, but I don't buy that idea. So it was causing problem between himself and myself. I had to rescue myself. I said, this is your office. I've not gotten to this office yet. So this is your office. Instead of having issue with you, saying so, the House of Assembly has suffered great infraction. The governor has been in office. The governor has been receiving his salary, parading himself as the governor. Why those men were hiding? Those men we are naturally hiding from the people. They don't attend public functions. They are being seen as aliens. They are being vilified. Now that you have returned back to the 8-point presidential resolution that hitherto you refused, because all those things we are enshrined in that particular 8-point resolution agenda that Mr. President and the governor signed, and said that after all it was not a death sentence. But that was what, Victor, that was what happened during the Aburi Accord that brought about the Nigerian Biafran Civil War. Gowon went, and Ojukwu, they had an agreement, people interfaced, they went to Aburi, and an accord was signed.
All right.
No gun was placed on somebody's neck to sign the accord. But when Gowon came back, the Awolowos of this world and the people who his own administration denigrated, that is being inhibited from progressing, it is his own name that is being dragged to the mall. And let me tell you, the House of Assembly cannot go to the governor for anything. That is the truth.
Well,
the House of Assembly, Victor, will not go to the governor. That's why when I mentioned the governor, it's not about the FCT minister here. Nelson Wike is not the governor of Rivers State. He's not the person receiving allocation. The governor, he told us that he has the red biro. That was the first time I was knowing that red biro is used for executive signings. Now, let him use that same red biro and resign all the things he has signed, and let there be peace, because the House of Assembly have the power to override whatever they have brought out, and the governor holds the key. Let him realize that the peace he's seek for, the peace he's advocating for, the peace he's looking for in Abuja is well within his red biro.
Okay, so these assembly members too, believe it or not, they're also key players in all of this. The other people, the other parties, most especially the FCT minister too, is also a key player to this. I will tell you about that on our next story, but let's move into this one. He is also a key player to all of this, in settling all of these issues and help the governor in place. He brought the governor into power, right? Now, he has the power, he has what it takes to make sure that these people, the governor himself and these assembly members and himself,
but the governor has drift,
right? He has that power,
but the governor has drift.
They are in good tandem, both the assembly members himself as well as the governor. Well, let's move on to our next story so that we could couple that together and have a good discussion on that. Well, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has stated that, I told you in the first place, that he is also a key player in all of these issues. So if he also wants probably peace and all of that, I think he can do that. He's in the position to also do that. Well, let me take your reaction as regards to this, that the council will not hold in August. For him to make such statement, Ogochukwu, that is to tell you that he has the synergy. He has what it takes to make Rivers State.
He has the capacity.
The capacity, you know, to bring synergy between the governor, Siminalai Fubara, and the Speaker of the House, and also make peace in Rivers State, and we halt these issues of Rivers crisis over and over again. Or every day we keep hearing of Rivers State crisis.
You see, Nyesom Wike is just a stakeholder.
Okay.
Nyesom Wike is only reacting. Remember that all these people are men, assembly members, the governor, they have the mind of their own. You can tell someone, after all, how did Edison here and Sakari Goodboy Sakare and the other people decided to stick with the governor? But they were all brought in by Nyesom Wike. So you cannot tell me that for more than 1 year, the governor did not play the politics of even poaching one person from the 27 lawmakers.
Okay.
Somebody should begin to ask such questions. How did a governor with his powers, with the amount of monies around him, could not even use by proxy, by intermediaries, by people to be able to remove one of those assembly members loyal to Nyesom Wike for him to his own side and increase his number? And all his commissioners, all those people who served him, he has been able to fix them in one place or the other. This is how you build your political structure. Political structure is not about the population of the people. After all, how many Rivers people are registered voters? How many Rivers people have their PVC? We go out and vote. But building of your structure is building the human persons that will take your message down to where you want it to get to. This particular position of Nyesom Wike, I've already said it. Enebele going to court means that he does not even understand the workings of the government, the powers of the legislature. After going to the court, Wike said it does not end there. When you want to do the election now, they will approve monies for you to conduct the election. So if they keep digdaling, if they keep in this, you know, all of them are politicians. They know themselves. Anybody that has taken a political appointment is a politician, whether you're a technocrat or whatsoever. Once you have decided to serve, and you know that a lot of things are covered up, in order to give those people that template to run. So he knows Enebele, he has his files, he was to the cave to find out what he will use in dragging you down. Then you talk about Nyesom Wike as if he's the only person that holds the key to speak in Rivers State. No. What happened in this pecuniary benefit? They didn't tell the governor the truth. They thought that this infraction will linger in perpetuity till the governor finish 4 years. Okay. But thanks to the Supreme Court, and then those elders, those who call themselves elders, who cannot look a Nyesom Wike eyeball to eyeball and say, son, come down. How many years is Nyesom Wike? What is his age? We know people in River State that are well older than him. Victor, have you taken time to ask yourself why those men cannot stand before him and speak? Have you asked yourself why they have suddenly realigned? I mentioned the people that are with the governor here, those who cannot win a local government election in River State. I don't want to mention their names, they know themselves. Those who were the Abuja politicians. Because Nyesom Wike has gone to Abuja, they now run to Abuja because they know that Abuja will not contain him and them. So those people are the people who are now hibernating around the governor, turning out advice to him. How can the enemy of your enemy be giving you good advice? You are now my friend because you are an enemy to my enemy. That is the politics the elders in River State are playing. Hence, they have not swallowed that particular quest for self-aggrandizement and tell the governor the truth. They can't come before Nyesom Wike and say the truth. Now they are allegedly collecting from the governor. If Governor Siminalayi Fubara commits an infraction tomorrow, how will they go and look at him and tell him traditional rulers that will call out the governor and the governor will listen? Because they know those people hold the key to the grassroots. But in River State, what has kept us where we are is infrastructural, stomach infrastructural politics. And that has been the bane of River State, where elders will now, instead of going to meet the governor as an elder, you are now going to the governor to support the governor for pecuniary gain at the end of the day. And remember, this same politics they are playing, they played it with Nyesom Wike. That is why they cannot speak before Nyesom Wike. So, and they quickly took sides. Immediately this thing happened, those of them that could not come to the corridor of power then quickly took sides. Instead of coming and looking at the issue critically and calling these two warring factions to order, what happened? They took sides. And to continue to take sides, when governor went to Abuja and signed an accord, they came back and pressed it on the governor and even went to court without the consent of the governor. I won't say that Fubara, I won't sit here and say anything bad against Fubara. Fubara was not aware. They went to court only for them to buy favor from the governor. Even some of them in LP, some of them in Labour Party. We know all of them. Some of them in Labour Party were people that were answering elders in River State, that they now went to court just to drag the name of Nyesom Wike to the mud. But today the coast is clear. Who has the interest of River State in mind? Who is the person who is in the side of the truth? It's not about sentiment or bias. I mean in the eyes of the law.
Okay. Well, you and I saw the video of what happened at Balama yesterday, where the Wike Minister of FCT said quite a lot of things yesterday. Now, from what you've just said, in essence, you're saying that Wike's claim about Enebeli is substantiated. Is that what you mean?
See, I have not known Nyesom Wike to make an allegation that at the end of the day, it will not be proven. That's why I say that those people, he knows them. Enebeli is his appointee. I don't know whether there is anybody in which Wike has spoken ills of, that you have seen the person come out. I was even listening to one of the men, this Niger Delta president. He called out in one of his media palace, the last one he did. I will remember his name. He said something. I was listening to the man yesterday on radio. He could not even defend himself. I was listening to him. Somebody called him on the radio to ask him that Nyesom Wike said that PANDEF is the most corrupt organization and called him out, the president. He couldn't substantiate what he was saying. He was just beating around the bush. So if Enebeli knows that he is clean as crystal ball, let him go and answer the assembly. Why did he run to court? And at the end of the day, what Nyesom Wike has simply said is that the court will not save you at the end of the day, because you know that you will still come and face the assembly members. Look at the statement Nyesom Wike said, and people are taking it out of context. He said that, he did not say that Ijaw nation is a minority. He never said it. He said that Ijaw in Rivers State is a minority, that they cannot win election. They don't have what it takes to produce a governor. He made the example that are they more in population than Ogonis. He made a reference, and he now told you that in all the states you find Ijaw people, that they did not constitute a number that can put them in a position of strength, because when you are negotiating, you negotiate from the position of strength. So that if not for his magnanimity, it would have not gotten to the Ijaw nation. And it is also the same Ijaw people that came to Nyesom Wike to tell him that the Opopo is not the real Ijaw. Is it Nyesom Wike that made the findings? So when we are talking, when we want to, kill a dog, let us not give the dog a bad name. Nyesom Wike clearly said that it's only in Bayelsa that Ijaw constitute a majority. In Kogi State, Ijaw does not constitute a majority. In Delta State, they didn't constitute a majority. In River State here, he said that they don't constitute a majority. In all the places you find them, they don't. But he said that this is where they are domiciled, in Bayelsa State. But Victor, a lot of people have taken it out of context.
All right.
So people are calling him to apologize, to withdraw the statement. But did they listen? I was in an exam hall one day. The lecturer came in. A student asked him, please, father, is a priest. Please, father, I don't understand this question. Because he came to see the paper if there was a typographical error or something, so that he will now walk out. People will start writing exam. The guy asked him a question. He said, understanding the question is part of answering it. That if I explain to you what I mean by this question, I have given you the answer. So many people listen to Nyesom Wike with bias. Many people listen and they don't comprehend, and they try to analyze what he has said. Thank goodness that the videos are there, both in audio and in print. Let them go and read it and know if there, even some people have taken it that Nyesom Wike insulted the late Pa Edwin Clark. He never did. Nyesom Wike never insulted Pa Edwin Clark. He said no matter all the powers that Pa Edwin Clark wield while he was alive, was he able to install an Ijaw man as the governor of Delta State? That's what he said.
All right, Ugochukwu, there's quite a lot to that. We're going to short break. When we return, we'll continue with Open Air. To stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Open Air on Atlantic Television Network in the city of Port Harcourt. Or joining us today right in the studio is Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu. He's a public affairs analyst. Well, let's delve right into the remaining stories for today. A court of appeal in Abuja has halted the reinstatement of Alhaji Muhammadu Sanusi II as the Emir of Kano. A three-member panel of justices led by Justice Okun Abang on Friday unanimously halted the implementation of the January 10 judgment, which vacated the nullification of Sanusi's II's appointment by a Kano State High Court, which it held was done without jurisdiction. The judgment, which was delivered by Justice Gabriel Kolawole, held that the nullification of Sanusi's II's appointment was done without the required jurisdiction and ordered the transfer of the suit to the Kano State High Court. However, ruling on the fresh applications, the appellate court agreed that the applications seeking to halt the enforcement of the earlier judgment pending the appeal before the Supreme Court were competent and meritorious. He also noted that the subject matter before the court needs to be preserved because the applicant had served as Emir for 5 years before his removal, adding that he deserves the right to protection. Over to you, Mr. Ugochukwu. I mean, before now we've had issues of this same installment of the Emir of Kano State, yes, you know, when it started, and it appears that it has been resolved when Sanusi was, installed as the Emir of Kano State. Now appeal court have stopped his reinstatement again the second time. Let me get your take on this.
You know, the appeal court judgment, this particular judgment appeal court gave now is reminding me of what led to the installment of the case of Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
How can a court, the same court, be speaking from both sides of the mouth? This case has gotten to the appeal court. The appeal court affirmed the reinstatement of Sanusi. Then now, which case now went to Supreme Court? Somebody now applied to the Supreme Court. Is the case in the Supreme Court, did the Supreme Court direct them, as they did in the case of Nnamdi Kanu,
all right,
to now go and start the retrial from the trial court? The answer is no. The Supreme Court have not said anything about this particular case. So why will the appeal court now coming to have double standard on its own judgment it has already given? Hence, the trial court, the lower court, this case emanated from, didn't have the jurisdiction to hear this particular case. Remember, why that case went to the Federal High Court, just like what happens in River State. You run to the court where you'll be protected. The Adebayero went to the Federal High Court in Kano to obtain his own judgment because of his synergy between him and Nuhu Ribado, the NSA,
all right,
and the affiliation he has with the federal government, because he knows that hence the governor is the sole appointee of those judges in the State High Court. He might not get his needed judgment. He now overlooked, because this is a matter that should even be heard within the customary court. I was even, as I was going through those expose yesterday, I was asking myself, why will a traditional institutional case be going to the Supreme Court? For what?
You know, we actually had this discussion initially.
Yes, initially when
we talked about this.
I now said they don't have. It shouldn't even leave the state.
Good.
Even the State House Assembly, we are in the Constitution. We are given the powers to legislate how the state will run its own government, local government, and these traditional institutions. It shouldn't be seen as something that will go to the federal. What does the federal? The staff of office is being given by the state governor. The state governor is the person that holds the land in trust for the people in the Land Use Act. The state governor is the person who is domiciled in the
in the locality to see what those traditional rulers are doing. They are well within his purview, his whims and caprices. It is also the state governor who creates new autonomous communities, who elevates chiefs to either first class, second class, or third class, the case may be. So, Victor, I was trying to wrap my mind why the Supreme Court will entertain such case. I don't understand this. So, for the appeal court to now be double standing and grandstanding in this particular issue is what I don't know. They should have maintained the appeal of what the judgment of the appeal court. Let Sanusi be installed, just like what happened in Rivers State here. The governor went to appeal court went against him. He still disobeyed before but if the governor has started obeying some of those court judgments with the time being, see, there is a way to kill, there are different ways to kill mosquito. You can allow those people, like the governor said before in Rivers State, to be floating. But what you do is that channel of communication, you just quietly, allow it to fizzle away. You don't send correspondence to them. You don't. Now them go, they call you for correspondence safe.
All right.
But you look at how Obasanjo issue and Atiku happened. After Obasanjo was able to get his second tenure, after kneeling down before Atiku, and Atiku, what happened? When he came in, he quietly, rendered Atiku's office, non-functional. Just like we saw the one that happened between Obaseki and Shaibu. Even when Shaibu was reinstated, what happened? All the correspondence that should go to the office of the the deputy governor was denied him. But Obasanjo paid Atiku his money, removed him from the National Economic Council, and made sure he stifled him of those funds that normally overflow to his office. The governor of Rivers State would have done that, and this particular appeal would have allowed Sanusi to be pending the determination of the case in the Supreme Court. Okay, what will the Supreme Court say now? The Supreme Court will say, okay, go back to the trial court, which is the State High Court. Because once a case have jurisdictional issue, they're like the Rivers State, they're talking about the defection, property defection and all that. But when the case got to the appeal court, what happened? The appeal court said the State High Court had no jurisdiction to hear this matter. That means it is as good as you did not have a case at hand. So if they get to the Supreme Court now, and the Supreme Court says that Federal High Court, ab initio, has no jurisdiction to hear this matter, where does that leave us?
All right.
Does that leave us to now start from the trial court again? So appeal court should have stood their ground and have not played this grandstanding double standard role they are playing now, in order to let them be seen as not sounding prejudice. But they have given a judgment. From what you have seen, they have already given a pronouncement. Why not have that pronouncement done now? If you are going if you are making a pronouncement of maintain the status quo ante-bellum, which we also saw in Rivers State here. We also saw that pronouncement given on behalf of Martin Samehule. But the governor did not obey it. So antebellum means before the case even went to the trial court. That is what. But does appeal court have the powers to make that pronouncement? I don't know.
All right.
Because do you know that? You know why I'm saying that? If a judgment has been given from a trial court, it still remains a judgment.
All right.
I don't know if you get it.
All
it still remains a judgment. So for you now to say that let them maintain antebellum status quo means that they should return when Adebayero was the emir. But the case has gone through the first trial court. So me, I am yet to wrap my head around it and really understand why the appeal court is making such a statement. But the Kano State government has come to clarify. I read in other their own press release that the statement of the appeal court is being misunderstood, that Sanusi is still the emir until the Supreme Court
makes final pronouncement.
Okay, moving on. Presidency has clarified that President Bola Tinubu is not currently focused. Bola Tinubu is not currently focused on the 2027 election, but is instead prioritizing his economic policies aimed at improving the lives of Nigerians. Tinubu's special advisor on media and public communications, a Sunday Diary, stated that the president is more concerned with the long-term impact of his policies than with political maneuvering ahead of the next election. In a Friday night post on his X page, Diary highlighted key economic improvements under Tinubu's leadership. President Tinubu is not worried about the next election. He's worried about the shared prosperity that he can bring to Nigerians, he wrote. He's worried about how the reforms he has put in place will yield a necessary impact. He's concerned about what happens to the economy of this country eventually. That's the focus. We've seen our foreign reserves go up. We've seen inflation come down. We've seen our trade surplus go up. We've seen exports go up and imports drop. We've seen the investments that we have been attracted over 50 billion. We're seeing prices dropping. We have clear data, and you have a president that is clearly in the driver's seat, and he has stayed the course of decisions he has taken. And I think that the next election is not really in his view right now. It's how to make sure that at the end of his term, he can sit back and say, look, I've impacted the lives of Nigerians. I've turned this economy around.
I don't go to the market for purchases, but I go and sample opinion. I also sample opinion from the streets. So Dare should ask the market woman in his village. It's not when they are, overfed, and when they sit in an air-conditioned room and air-conditioned cars with Esther coats and the security details, they don't know what the ordinary Nigerians are going through. And for him to say that, before I say that, I think I like what he said, that the next election is not really what is on the president's mind. That means a one corner of the president's mind is there. The election, and the turnout, but there is so, and that is where Mr. President has gotten himself to, because all his policies, all the ranting, all the policies we have seen, all the